max we sent home.
Yeah, so everyone starts freaking out. He shuts the poker game down. Chamath kicks everyone out, sends everyone home, and then he's like, "All right, let's go have dinner inside. We open up all the doors. We're gonna kind of Lysol the room tomorrow. We all go in and have dinner, or Chamath and I go in and have dinner with Nat and the kids." And then Chamath starts thinking, you know what? It's okay. They were only exposed for a few seconds. Let's call Phil back. Okay, let's call Schiffel back. Let's call Keating back. And then they all come back for dinner. And at this point, it's become like a dinner party. And then a couple of glasses of wine in, and then it's like, you know what? The room's probably safe. We should go play poker. I mean, the whole poker night went through the entire cycle of psychology of COVID. The whole pandemic is like, oh my God, get everyone out, lock up. And then by the end of the night, it was like, you know what? Let's go in the room and just play poker and give each other COVID.
They got to acceptance.
They went through the whole emotional cycle of the pandemic in 1 hour.
Does anyone know anyone who's had a serious case of Omicron?
No.
I mean, I know dozens of people.
Horrifying.
Congratulations, Diary of a CEO gang. We've made some progress. 63% of you that listen to this podcast regularly don't subscribe, which is down from 69%. Our goal is 50%. So if you've ever liked any of the videos we've posted, if you like this channel, can you do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know, and the bigger the channel gets, as you've seen, the bigger the guests get. Thank you and enjoy this episode. Annie, you wrote this book about nuclear war and published it in March 2024. The timing of this book seems to be a little bit coincidental when I look at what's going on in the world at the moment. Why did you write a book about nuclear war? And why did you write it now?
The top 5 people in your company in a glass meeting room, and they are actively jumping an innocent man, beating up.
Like physical assault.
Physical assault.
Okay.
Chairman Yang believed that this man, a professor at a local university, was sleeping with his wife. So he summoned this professor, who has no affiliation with his company, into his office, took 4 of his VPs, and is now jumping the guy, is beating him up. The professor's trying to clear the air, like, it's all a big misunderstanding. I would never sleep with your wife. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, you have to just hear me out. They beat him in that glass conference room in front of all tens, if not hundreds of employees for 3 hours straight. They held his arms down. They beat his face. They tied his hands behind his back and then stomped on his fingers, crushing them.
Oh my God.
They would mock him. Hey, if you hit your head,
by him. Mark got on the microphone backstage and went, totally boring. I was 15. I got no leeway for that at all. His first time on stage was so traumatic, it's surprising Carey didn't quit comedy altogether. The only reason he took a 2-year break was because his family was so poor they could not afford to invest in his dream. The family of 4 lived in a Volkswagen van near Burlington, Canada. Jim and his brother John also spent months living in a tent in the Charles Daly Park on Lake Ontario. But Jim soon overcame his fears and returned back to the stage in 1979. The 17-year-old quickly transitioned from open mics to regular paid shows. In addition to growing in popularity, Carey attempted to break into the industry by auditioning to be a cast member for the 1980-1981 season of NBC's Saturday Night Live. Unfortunately, SNL's executive producer selected Charles Rocket over Carey. Facing failure once again, Carey continued performing stand-up across Toronto and the surrounding
complete list of small sat launchers currently flying or trying to fly, because that list is this long. So we had to make some cuts. I decided to make a rule. The company has to have either attempted to launch or at least have hardware out on the launch pad and targeting launching in 2021. I also wanted all of these rockets to be clean slate designs, not just repurposed hardware like some other launch vehicles. But of course that gets confusing, because some of these launchers will be launching out of shipping containers off the back of a truck, and it doesn't really matter where their launch pad is. Or like Pegasus, it just gets a little bit confusing. So I promptly broke our rules, and I just had to make some executive decisions. So sorry if your favorite launcher wasn't included in this rundown, but we still figured this was a big and comprehensive enough comparison for what might be flying by the end of 2021. We want hardware here, folks, not drawings. No paper.
When I posted that I'm hanging out with Pavel, a lot of people, fans of his, wrote to me asking if he does, in fact, privately live the disciplined, ascetic life he's known for. No alcohol, stoic mindset, strict diet and exercise. including a crazy amount of daily pull-ups and push-ups, no phone except to occasionally test Telegram features, and so on. Yes, he's 100% that guy, which made the experience of hanging out with him really inspiring to me. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful to now be able to call him a friend. This podcast conversation is in parts philosophical, about freedom, life, human nature, and the nature of government bureaucracies. And it is also in parts super technical, because to me, it is fascinating that Telegram has a relatively small engineering team and yet is able to basically out-innovate all of its competitors with an insane
2008. So 5 separate SEC submissions.
And in spite of all of the things that you did, it still ended up in disaster.
There's nothing to be proud about in this case. I feel horrible about the result. It's been a total disaster for the victims.
It began a decade ago when Markopolos was working for a Boston investment firm. His boss told him that Bernard Madoff, a former chairman of the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, was running a huge unregistered hedge fund that was producing incredible returns. He wanted Harry to reverse engineer its trading strategy and revenue streams so that the firm could duplicate Madoff's results.
He had the patina of being a respected citizen, one of the most successful businessmen in New York, and certainly one of the most powerful men on Wall Street. You would never suspect him of fraud unless you knew the math.
I mean, you're like a math guy, right?
I've taken all the calculus courses from integral calculus to
eligible anyway as like top management, but like,
well, Ed got one.
Ed got, yeah. How the hell did Ed get one?
Yeah. So I think I technically.
Well, that's not
was.
fair then.
Yeah.
So maybe you're ineligible because you work for a different company. I don't know. I'll find some way to make it.
Maybe.
You get computers anyway. You don't need one.
I actually don't
Yeah,
care. It's
forget
fine.
it. Forget it. The point is, Intel Extreme Tech Upgrade is over. We did 24 episodes, which hilariously, at the time that we booked Intel Extreme Tech Upgrade 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, we're totally going to make our way through like everyone in the company. But the rate at which our employee count has grown,
been hiring more people than
has
you've been
outpaced
spitting out.
how fast we can make these videos. They're a ton of work, right? Because you got to do all the procurement. Everyone's kind of, this is their chance to like talk to you guys, right? So everyone's looking for not a gimmick,
something that expresses who they are,
but a unique element, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so in the early ones, it was pretty simple. I'm going to be.
When I posted that I'm hanging out with Pavel, a lot of people, fans of his, wrote to me asking if he does, in fact, privately live the disciplined, ascetic life he's known for. No alcohol, stoic mindset, strict diet and exercise, including a crazy amount of daily pull-ups and push-ups, no phone except to occasionally test Telegram features, and so on. Yes, he's 100% that guy, which made the experience of hanging out with him really inspiring to me. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful to now be able to call him a friend. This podcast conversation is in parts philosophical, about freedom, life, human nature, and the nature of government bureaucracies. And it is also in parts super technical, because to me, it is fascinating that Telegram has a relatively small engineering team and yet is able to basically out-innovate all of its competitors with an insane
The way this occurred was that the system of AlphaGo was essentially organized to always maintain a greater than 50% chance of winning. And so it calculated correctly this move, which was this great mystery among all of the Go players, who are obviously insanely brilliant, mathematical and intuitive players. The question that Henry, Craig Mundy, and I started to discuss, right, is what does this mean? How is it that our computers could come up with something that humans had never thought about? I mean, this is a game played by billions of people. And that began the process that led to 2 books, and I think, frankly, is the point at which the revolution really started.
If you fast forward to today, it seems that all anyone can talk about is AI, especially here at TED, but you've taken a contrarian stance. You actually think